Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from AnthonyMorganti.com. This is episode 5 of the video series where we're taking a look at On1 Photo 10. Now, last week I gave you an introduction to On1 Photo 10 effects. In this episode, we're going to get into it a little deeper, and we're going to process this image of my son and his band Kill the Clock. You can look them up at killtheclock.com. And we're going to send this over to On1 Effects 10. Also, actually, before I start, I just want to remind you that you could save 20% on your purchase of any On1 product. You just use the link and discount code that will be in the description below this video. All right, I'm going to right click on the image and I'm going to go down to Edit In, and we're going to go down to On1 10 Effects. And it's going to come up with this dialog, of course, and we're going to edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments, and I'm going to take these settings here and click Edit. Now, Lightroom is creating the PSD file that is going to be sent over to On1 Effects. Now, if you didn't see last week's video, On1 Photo 10 is not a raw editor, so it has to convert the raw image into something it could work with. And we're going to save it as a re-editable smart photo, and I have covered that in earlier videos about smart photos, and you could check that out. All right, now they're a pop punk band, so I want this image to kind of reflect the type of music they play. So it's kind of you know, raw punk. So as I go through, I mean, I don't think hipster would work. But we go down and I think urban. So we'll go to urban and we're going to get a preset for urban. And why don't we just look at all the presets, and just as I glance at them, I kind of like caution. So we'll just click on caution and see what that looks like. All right, actually this one will work out perfect for this demonstration. I really like what the preset has done to the church. They're sitting on a church steps. But look what it did to their faces. It literally really destroyed their faces. So the whole point of this video is I want to show you some masking techniques that are available in Photo 10 effects. And it's real easy to do masking and effects. Those of you that have dabbled in Photoshop probably have messed around with masks. And it's always confusing. A white mask you paint on black, a white mask reveals, black mask hides, and you paint on white and stuff. And it gets confusing. It's so much easier with On1 10 effects. Now what we're going to do is I want to get rid of whatever filter is causing their face to look horrible. So we got to figure out which one of these 3 filters that this preset added to the image did this to their face. And really what I do is I just go through them one by one. So I'll turn off color enhancer, and that is still bad. Then we'll turn off grunge, and grunge cleaned up their face pretty well. Dynamic contrast and grunge. So it looks like grunge could be the offender. All right, so we'll open up the grunge slider and we'll turn that off again. Although no, as I look at it, I could still see that there is the markings on their face, and that is actually dynamic contrast. Grunge is just accentuating that issue. So I think the issue really is with dynamic contrast. And you'll find if you use dynamic contrast that it will affect skin a lot. So we want to paint away the dynamic contrast from their face. So we're going to use a mask. And you can see up above here we have a mask right here, but this is for everything. We don't want to paint away all the filters. We just want to paint away dynamic contrast. And actually each individual filter will have its own mask. All you have to do is go over here on the left tool panel, and you can see there's a number of tools, and we'll cover these as we go on in further episodes. We're going to get the masking brush right here. Okay, and if you look over here towards the top above the image, you could see that we have some properties for the tool. So we could really specify exactly how we want the tool to perform. The first thing on the left, you could see mode paint out. that's pretty obvious. We want to paint out the effect. We don't want it there anymore. The alternative is paint in. You could paint in the effect. Now, this is where it makes it a lot easier compared to Photoshop because it's always difficult for people that are just starting to use Photoshop to remember if a white mask reveals and a black mask hides. You don't really have to worry about it here. Just get the brush and get a paint out mode, and then we could change the size of the brush, the feathering of the brush, and the opacity of the brush. Now, I want to paint the effect totally away, so I'm going to use an opacity of 100. Sometimes you'll want to use less. I am going to feather it a little bit because I don't really want a hard line around their faces. Now, there is this little brush right here. If you click there, you can see this is called a perfect brush. And what it will try to do, it will look for edges, and it will try to restrain your brush strokes to a specific edge in the image. Now, this really isn't applicable here because we're really going across their face, their eyes, their hair. So there are a lot of edges, and what will happen, this brush is going to try to stay in a certain spot. And it's going to not work as well for this type of image. Now, in a future video, we will specifically use this perfect brush to show you how it works. But in this specific video, it's not applicable. And this little gear here, you could erase brush strokes. If you're using a Wacom tablet, pressure will adjust size and things like that. So that's really not applicable here either right now. So I'm going to get a relatively small brush so I could control where I'm painting. And I want to paint, again, this effect away on their skin. So their face and their neck, and probably their hair a little bit too, maybe. We'll see. So you can see how it's really getting rid of the effect on their face. So their faces look much, much better. And we'll do it on their hair too. It's making the dynamic contrast is making their hair look kind of crispy. So we'll get it on their hair a little bit too, on my son's hair up here. A touch. I wish I had that hair. Okay, good. Now we painted the effect away on their face, and if you look on the filter itself, you could see all of a sudden a little mask formed. And if we click on it, you could see where I painted. It's a white mask, and I painted black to paint away the effect. And that was by using the paint out mode of the brush. So we did that. Now we could turn on our other filters. And good, I kind of like the look. Now, I think what I often say is use a preset to get you close to something you like and then modify it a little. So I kind of like this, but there's really too much color for me. I want to really kind of suck the color out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the color enhancer filter, which is already here, and I want to go down to color range. Right now it's set to yellow. I'm going to set it to all, and I'm going to go down to the saturation slider, and I'm just going to suck some of the color out of here, like that. So that's a little better. That's a little more like what I want this image to look like. And I'm going to add another filter now, and I'm going to add a vignette. And it defaulted to the subtle vignette. Let's look at the soft. I typically like the soft one a little better. The only thing is the size, usually you have to readjust. So we'll bring the size out. And I like that. I think that works real well. Kind of the processing of the image kind of reflects their musical style, in my opinion. So I like it. And the whole idea of this video was to show you how to use the masks. Now again, you could use this mask and it will paint out all 4 of these effects completely on the image. But each of these effects has their own mask. All you have to do is open the filter and then get the brush and start painting, and you'll see that the little mask will become active, and you could actually paint away the effect. So we could apply this. Now I had already cropped this to use on their Instagram. So they could put this on Instagram. So it's a 4:5 crop, which fits an Instagram post. So that's why it's kind of in that odd looking crop. But that's the idea of this video, is to give you an idea of how you could utilize, where is it? There it is. How you could utilize the masking that is available in effects. Now, in the next video, I think we're going to go a little further with effects, and we're going to do a few different images, and I'm going to show you some different settings that you could do and things like that. Um, so that's it for this video. I appreciate everyone that watches my videos. I truly do. Thank you very, very much. I'll talk to you guys soon.